Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Leo Master. Welcome back to another Overwatch League news video, and today we got more releases to talk about. Some surprising ones we're going to jump right into with the Los Angeles Gladiators. We got Washington Justice, Chengdu Hunters, the full confirmation with the Florida Mayhem. I went over the leak in yesterday's video about the Florida Mayhem, and it's crazy. You know, the first thing we're going to talk about, and let's jump right into it, the Los Angeles Gladiators making a move no one expected. Really, mostly one move, and let's jump right into them. Muze and Mirror both getting released. Now, Mirror makes sense, Muze doesn't. I am shocked to see Muze get released from the Los Angeles Gladiators personally, because I think Muze, as the time went on through the season, yes, it was really rough in the beginning, had some rough times here and there, but in general, he was all around still a really good main tank. He was up there, I feel like. You know, he competed with the best main tanks all the time. Was he the best one? Absolutely not. But Muze was definitely one of the best main tanks, and he showed that potential near the end of the season, and it blows me away that Muze is now being let go from the Los Angeles Gladiators. And this could be a thing with Overwatch 2. You know, space is very flexible on all the tanks. They could keep space for that reason, but they also could have kept another tank. You know, I feel like it's not that bad to keep more tanks, even with Overwatch 2. You know, we're losing another tank role in Overwatch 2, but it's still, I think, good enough to keep more tanks. Once again, this could be money things, or they just didn't want Muze anymore, and Muze is now gone. But I do think Muze could work on so many more teams, and I think a big team that Muze could go to is definitely the Seoul Dynasty. I think Muze could change that team completely. There's also way more teams, you know, in the bottom area of the NA region, and some teams in APAC would probably love to have him, but Seoul definitely stands out for me. You know, if he ended up going on Vancouver, that would be absolutely crazy. I don't see that happening unless it does. That'd be really crazy, but it is definitely crazy to see someone like Muze no longer be on the Los Angeles Gladiators, and most likely will be going on to a different team next season. Then onto the other release, Mirror being released from the Los Angeles Gladiators, and this one, not that much of a shocker. You know, they ended up using Kevster a lot more, and all around the other DPS players, just a lot more than Mirror. Back when he first got signed, it was still confusing, but they ended up using him a decent amount in season 3 and even season 4. A handful amount of times Mirror is still being played, and every time he has played, he has looked solid. But the thing is, Kevster and Birdring are still just a great duo. You just want to keep those guys in all the time. Is going to get released, but I think this could be a good thing for Mirror. You know, no longer being on the bench, improving himself on a different team, probably in contenders for a little bit, then go back in the Overwatch League. I think a perfect team for him would definitely be the Vancouver Titans. Maybe the Toronto Defiant. Maybe Toronto Defiant wants to go on a mixed roster again. We'll see what Toronto Defiant wants to do. There's definitely some teams that would love to have Mirror, but we'll just need to see what goes on later this offseason. It's definitely looking crazier. I'm very interested to see how this offseason is going to go out even more. Now onto the other team that made some releases today as well. It is the Washington Justice, and their releases have been Hocury, Ttuba, and Closer. Hocury was a coach for the Washington Justice. He is no longer there. Ttuba, this makes sense. Ttuba really didn't play at all last season, and he played a decent amount of times in season 3 as well, but all around makes sense. Ttuba really didn't get to play at all this season, and he is now gone. I definitely think this is probably the move for Justice. It sucks to see Ttuba no longer play, but we'll see what goes on with Ttuba's career in the future. I don't see him being in the Overwatch League again next season. Things could be different. Ttuba could end up staying in the Overwatch League next season. Next best bet would probably be the Vancouver Titans, but that's it. I don't see Ttuba being in the Overwatch League next season unless something drastically changes for a team or two. And then Closer gets released, and he's actually doing his military service. So Closer had to leave for that. It looks like there's going to be a lot of players that have to leave for the military service. This isn't the first one this offseason. So Closer's gone. Sucks to see him gone. He definitely wasn't a top-tier main support. He's never has been a top-tier main support. He always has been in the middle. He's been solid main support all around. He's someone that you just want to hate. You know, it's someone you'd like to have on your team all the time. You know, he joined Dallas back in Season 2. Helped Dallas a decent amount. Season 3, a little bit of up and down season. And then Season 4 for the Washington Justice ended up not being so bad for him. So that is it with the Washington Justice. These are all the releases that they made the day of making this video. Nothing too surprising out here, nothing too heartbreaking for the Justice. This isn't going to be a massive deal for them. Like Dallas Fuel, I'd say yesterday, I feel like a lot of people kind of blew Dallas Fuel stuff out of the water a little bit. You know, Dallas Fuel releases made sense. You know, they had some retirements here and there. So same thing here of Washington Justice. None of these really are super crazy. You know, losing Hocury, I can't say that much about him because I don't know what he did behind the scenes. I'm not there. Ttuba, not a huge heartbreaker. You know, he was, even when he did play, he wasn't super top tier. He had some top tier moments, absolutely, but Ttuba leaving is not that big of a deal for the Justice. They can definitely find an upgrade or two over him. I'm making that sound really, really mean, but I'm trying my best not to. And then you have Closer, has to do his military service, nothing you can do about that. Now let's move on to the next team, the Chengdu Hunters, and the only release they made today is Ameng. Sucks to see such a player like this for Chengdu Hunters go. He's been with the Hunters since day one, kind of like the face for Chengdu Hunters for years, and he is now gone. And he is LFT too, so he still wants to play in the game. We'll see what teams he can get into. Maybe if the LA Valiant wants to stay in a full Chinese roster, we'll see what happens there. But it sucks to see Ameng go. This definitely is emotional for probably for a lot of Hunters fans because he's been there, like I said, since day one. His ball play was some of the best we've seen, even till today. He still had a lot of good moments on his ball, but definitely when it came to flexing a little bit, Ameng was a bit of an issue when it came to Reinhardt in the early days. Orisa was all right, and Winston was a little bit. So when it came to this flexibility, it definitely hurt the Hunters a little bit, and they suffered with that for many years, actually. Season 2, they were able to get away with it occasionally. Season 3 and Season 4 was definitely hard for them. They ended up finding Gaga, who was the perfect main tank for this team, and maybe they'll find a better one for next season. But Gaga was good. Ameng, he's still a great ball player. You know, if some team needs a ball specialist, Ameng's there. So Hunters, it does suck to see Ameng go, but this probably was the move for more flexibility, especially for Overwatch 2 coming out. Now onto the Shanghai Dragons. Nothing too crazy here. Nothing really to talk about that much is Develop has been released. Nothing, like I said, nothing really to talk about here. Develop didn't get played at all. Still one of the most questionable signings throughout the entire season. I think everyone knew as soon as they signed Develop, nothing was going to be used here with Develop. I mean, Fleta and Lip, no one should be replacing them, or even any sort of rotation should be happening there. So still confused why they signed Develop, and now he's gone. And who knows, maybe a team will sign him. Maybe Dallas Fuel could sign him. You know, they don't have Pine anymore. They could definitely still sign a hitscan player. So Develop's still there. And I'd love to see what Develop does. You know, Develop was still good in his contenders days. He just got picked up by the Dragons, and we couldn't see anymore. So thank you, Dragons. Nice. Now onto the Dallas Fuel. One little thing they talked about today is Yong has been released, but also it's because he is doing his military service as well. Sucks to see Yong go. I think he was definitely a huge part for the Fuel the past 2 years, especially back in Season 3 with all the issues that was going on there. He was a good piece for the Dallas Fuel. You know, we saw his potential back in Season 3, and he ended up working with everyone together in Season 4, and we saw a good run that was for the Fuel. He is now doing his military service. Sucks to see him go, but hey, he was perfect for the Fuel. Now to go over something I already talked about yesterday, not going to go too in-depth about it, but Florida Mayhem has released everyone but Yaki. I also talked about Yaki in yesterday's video as well. Yaki is looking to be traded, and everyone's gone. BQB, Checkmate, OG, Gargoyle, Slime, Gangnam Jin, all gone, and all of these players are LFT. They're gonna be in the Overwatch League most likely next season, maybe except for Checkmate and OG. But these players could still dominate in the league. I'm talking Gangnam Jin should be signed instantly. Slime, I mean, he could go to the Dallas Field. They need a main sport now. Gargoyle, especially on the right team, he could be one of the best off tanks once again. I mean, he was still one of the better off tanks last season, but imagine him on a potential like top tier team. Like, this guy could be crazy with someone beside him. Maybe like Muze and Gargoyle could be a great tank duo. And now we have BQB. Who knows where he could go? I think Florida Man was the perfect team for him, so it could potentially be hard for him to find a team. Maybe not. Maybe he could go to the Dallas Field and be their hitscan player. I'd be surprised if that was the case, especially now that Develop's out there. But anything's possible, especially BQB with players like Sparkle and Doha, Fearless. This could be completely different for BQB. So this is it for the Florida Mayhem stuff. I went over it yesterday. There's a lot of potential here for some of these players to still pop off next year. I really have a hard time seeing OG come in next year. I mean, he could be on the Vancouver Titans. Definitely a huge upgrade over Chongsik. And we've known OG in the past to be one of those main tanks that likes to go on a bottom tier team and help it a little bit. You know, back in Season 1 at the Dallas Fuel, he was kind of an unknown main tank. Came into the Dallas Fuel back in Season 1. He wanted to find a team that he could help. He helped the team a little bit. Didn't make him top tier, but helped him a little bit. Saw that in Season 2, helped it a little bit. And it's kind of been that same performance ever since. It's kind of been like solid, you know, not top tier, a little solid though. So he's had his run on Fuel, Glads, Florida. No coach has been able to find that potential where we all know he has. but maybe he doesn't have that potential. Maybe he doesn't. We have to accept the truth that he doesn't have the potential. But I think there's only one more chance for OG to be on the Vancouver Titans, but I'm going to end it here. If you guys want to stay more in tune to watching news and watching stuff in general, don't forget to subscribe down below. Also, don't forget to join my Discord down below as well. And don't forget to follow my Twitter and my Twitch. And don't forget to hit that bell, and don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.